are ya? Welcome back to another video, kind of wedding related, kind of travel related, kind of just like lifestyle, I suppose, because it's how to plan a honeymoon, aka how to plan a trip. But specifically a honeymoon. There's not one way to plan a honeymoon. There's so many different factors, there's so many different preferences, there's so many different budgets. So instead of telling you how to plan a honeymoon, I'm just gonna tell you how we planned our honeymoon, and hopefully that helps. Hopefully you can learn from my experiences and like what helped me and our process, because that's the best way to learn. It's from other people's experiences. After going through the whole wedding process, it was obviously quite a lot. It can get exhausting at times. There's a lot of planning that goes into it. So Brooke and I decided that for our honeymoon, we wanted it to be as chill as possible. Maybe you're the type of couple that loves to just go and see all the sights and everything like that. But we knew after such a whirlwind of wedding planning for 8 months, we just wanted to chill and enjoy each other's presence and eat and lay on a beach. That's like all we wanted to do. So that is what we planned on. In hindsight, I'm so glad we did, because we really were exhausted after the whole thing. And it was nice to just kind of wake up in the morning and know that you can do things if you want, but you don't have to also while on your honeymoon. So we decided to go to Kauai just because it was close enough to where it wasn't that expensive, but it also felt like a little bit of a getaway. It was somewhere warm where we could lay on a beach, get sun, that whole thing, the cliche honeymoon thing, you know what I mean. So the first part of it was budgeting. I will tell you, I was actually shocked. Mind you, I had a really big wedding. We ended up having 220 people come. We invited almost 400 people. So people that didn't come still gave us gifts. But the amount of cash, not just gifts, but cash that we got at our wedding literally paid for the whole honeymoon. So we had budgeted for it previously, but it was almost like we were reimbursed. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of peace of mind. Obviously the size of your wedding, who you invite, will determine the types of gifts you get, and it sounds kind of, I don't know, it just feels weird to be saying like, yeah, you'll get money, but it does happen, you'll get money. It ended up being reimbursed basically for everything we had put into it, but obviously flights, accommodations, things like that need to be paid ahead of time. We booked our flights and our accommodations about 6 months before our honeymoon, and how we did this is we actually opened up a credit card in both of our names. This was an opportunity for us to kind of build our credit score. Go watch my Money 101 video for like the proper way to use a credit card. Basically, you don't want to put a lot on a credit card at a time. The suggested amount is about 30% of your credit usage limit. We decided to book things one at a time and pay them off immediately. We had been saving for quite a while, so we had enough money to pay for our flight and our accommodations. But say the first week we would book our flights and immediately pay it off, and then wait for those charges to go through. The next week we would book the first hotel and then immediately pay it off and wait for those charges to go through. So we kind of booked things over the course of a month just to make sure that we could properly use our credit cards, build both of our credit scores up. That's obviously not a necessity, it's just something that we did to take advantage of the fact that we were spending a lot of money for the first time in our lives together. So if you're gonna spend a lot of money, might as well, you know, boost your score. In order to plan where we wanted to stay and what we wanted to do is a whole nother thing. First, I had been to Kauai 2 times before, each for about like 2 weeks at a time. So I had spent, I guess, like a month of my life in Kauai before this trip. Brooke had never been, but I had never gone as an adult. The last time I went, I think I was in middle school, so I don't remember that much. So I asked people, Kauai is a popular destination, what their favorite things to do were, their favorite places to stay. In my opinion, the best source is asking your friends and family. Personal reviews mean a lot to me. Interestingly enough, a lot of people said, oh, if you're going for your honeymoon, you just have to splurge. There's a one really nice resort in Kauai called the Grand Hyatt, and they're like, you have to do that, it's so nice. And I said, okay, if that's something we have to do, we'll do it, but just for, I forgot if we did 1 or 2 nights. I think we did 2 nights. Wow, how do I already forget that? Basically not for a long time, because it's like $850 a night. It was so expensive. We found like a moderately priced hotel that was pretty nice, had all the amenities like the pools and stuff like that, and we booked that for 3 nights. And then we found a super cheap Airbnb that we booked for 4 nights, and that was literally $140 a night. So we were like, we'll get to experience like the really extravagant part of Kauai, but we also won't have to spend a lot of money overall because we'll spend some time in this Airbnb. In hindsight, just letting you know, I'm like a bougie person. I love resorts, but we had so much more fun at our Airbnb for $140 a night than the resort. After getting to have this little tiny apartment to yourself on the water, we looked out, I'll put in some pictures of it here, like this was our view. That was $140. We did that before the Grand Hyatt. The Grand Hyatt was our last big thing, like kind of our last hurrah. The Grand Hyatt honestly felt kind of sterile to us. That was just our experience. We honestly did have more fun at the cheaper option. Those nights that we were staying in the cheaper spot, we felt less guilty like going all out at dinner. So leading up to your wedding, whether or not you're intentionally being conscientious about what you eat, you kind of subconsciously are, at least most of us, being a little bit more mindful about what we're eating. It was really fun to just be like gluttonous. I know gluttony is bad, but just, you know, go all out and get to experience the really decadent food for a whole week in Kauai. That was one thing that we really wanted to do. We both love to eat. Spending less on accommodations allowed us to spend more on restaurants, and that was really what we had the most fun doing. We made a joke. I was like, I think this honeymoon is just looking at pretty things until we get hungry again. And that's pretty much what it was. That is what we did as far as accommodations go, and hopefully that helps you. We loved having a little apartment to ourselves. We also could use the kitchenette. We had our own porch. We had our own little yard. As far as what to do, there was a couple things that we knew we wanted to do that had to be booked up front. Brooke really wanted to do a luau. I was like not that about it because it's kind of a tacky tourist thing, but he heard that it's all you can eat food and that's what he wanted to do. So I started researching that a little bit more in advance because I realized that that had to be booked a little bit more in advance. If I were you, I would pick a handful of things that you know you really want to do and book it ahead of time. Just off of personal experience, it's kind of best to not book too much. A lot of things on honeymoons are more outdoorsy, I feel like beaches or hikes or, I don't know, golfing if you're that type of person, going out to eat. Those things don't have to be booked months in advance, and you're already planning so much with the wedding. So all we really booked was that luau and one really nice dinner that our parents actually got us a gift card for. It's a place on the water with the sunset, super popular. They book up like 6 months in advance. So we made those 2 reservations and 1 spa day. That's all we booked up front because we knew we just wanted to wake up and kind of see what we felt like doing that day. Like that freedom is what we wanted in our honeymoon. So to prepare for that freedom, I made a list of places to go see, things to go do, and places to eat. That was really fun to research. I use Yelp for everything. Going to the pictures on Yelp makes life so much easier in my opinion. I'm a big fan of atmosphere. Like I really care about the ambiance of place. I used Yelp to find really beautiful hiking trails, beautiful beaches, beautiful restaurants that had food I can eat. And I just made a list and I subcategorized it on my phone and said, here are 5 beaches. This one looks like it has a lot of sand. This one looks kind of quiet and you have to hike to it, so on and so forth. Here's 3 hikes. This one's 2 miles long on a cliff. This one is more through the rainforest, but easier, only 1 mile. And then here's some really nice fancy restaurants. This one's pretty expensive. Here's a really chill coffee shop that looks pretty cheap. Here's a pizza place if we want to go there for lunch type of thing. And it was really fun to research. It was also really nice to just have it categorized on my phone because we wake up that morning and we're like, what do you want to do? You want to take a hike? Yeah, but I'm not really like feeling that much of a workout. I'm pretty tired. That's fine. I found this one. Look, 1 mile, easy, through the rainforest type thing. Let's do that. And it's just kind of fun to wake up and figure it out that day, but already have like a plan A, B, C, D based on how you're feeling. The biggest tip I can give you too, I know it sounds embarrassing. It's like when it's your birthday, you don't really want to tell the waiter it's your birthday, but just like put a little reservation note when you make a reservation at a restaurant the day of. We made almost all of our reservations for restaurants the day of because like I said, we wanted to wake up and feel it out. And we were good literally at every restaurant that we wanted to go to. So whether it be the restaurant or when you're booking your hotel, anything like that, just add a little note saying we're on our honeymoon. You'll get a lot of free stuff. It's kind of great. There was a lot of free chocolate. There was free Lay's. There was free champagne. There was free cheese platters. There's free dessert. Yeah, it was great. This is the one time in your life you get to kind of pull that card, and I'm very socially aware, so I don't like to be that person, but just being able to like add that little note onto your reservation means you don't really have to bring anything up, which is kind of nice. They just know it already. Definitely take advantage of that. And that is how Brooke and I planned our honeymoon. From the financial part to the planning part to the personal experience of what we enjoyed, what we regretted. I don't necessarily think we regretted spending a lot of money at the resorts, but if we went back, we would have spent our whole time at that cheaper spot and spent more money on like going out and spa day and restaurants and all of that. Let me know if you have any specific questions. I know I said I'm kind of getting out of this wedding stuff, but this is kind of more post-wedding, more lifestyle, and all in all, I do like talking about it and I do want to help you out. So let me know if there's any specific topics or questions that you want me to address in another video, and I would be glad to. I love you guys so much and I love hanging out with you, and I will see you in another video very soon. Don't forget to press subscribe. I'm trying to hit 20K soon. I wonder when we can hit it by. I love you. Bye.